So you want to learn boxing from the ground up, from beginner to advanced techniques? I'm Woodgate from Shadowbox Media, and this is boxing. I'm Woodgate from Shadowbox Media, creator of Fightnomics, and today we're talking about the lead hook. The lead hook is the final of the three main punches in boxing that we're going to be talking about. If you set it up correctly and land it with the power, the potential power that you can actually create with this shot, then you're going to be onto a winner. So we're going to go through and show you how to create a good lead hook and how to carry as much potential power through to your target as possible. When it comes to creating a good lead hook, there's a few things that we need to take into consideration. So obviously, like any shot, it starts from the floor and how we position our feet and what we do with our feet to create that initial force, to then carry through to the end of the shot to create the power in the shot. What we see when we're watching boxing is how a shot finishes. So we're going to start off with that, start at the top, and then we're going to work down, see what we're doing with our hips and how we create that power with our feet. So with a good lead hook, what we're looking to do is get as much mass to the target as possible. As we've covered in other videos, we need to create mass in a shot to be able to carry that power or create the power in the shot, what we know as power. How we do that with a hook or a lead hook is slightly different from how we do that with our jab or our rear hand. The reason being is because when a hook lands, the trajectory it takes as it lands, there's not much mass behind it, because all we've got behind a hook is our arm. So to create mass in that shot, what we need to do is either throw our mass into it or pull our mass into the shot, which is what I would recommend to start with. Throwing your mass into a shot is slightly more difficult because it can throw you off balance, but we will cover that in later videos anyway. But what we're going to talk about today is how we can pull as much mass into our hook as possible. So when we're talking about pulling mass into a shot, what we're talking about is pulling our body weight into a shot. With a backhand or a jab, we can push our mass through the shot. It's a lot easier because what you can do is you can line up behind the shot, so we know that what we're doing there is we're pushing our mass through the shot. With a hook, it's a lot more difficult because, like I said, it's hard to create mass in a hook because there's nothing behind it. So what we need to do is we need to pull our body weight into a shot. With a jab, it's a forward movement. With a rear hand, it's a forward movement. With a hook, it's a backward movement. Okay, it's a pull. We're pulling mass into the shot. So the way I explain this to the fighters that I work with is if you've got a rope attached to a heavy object, you're not going to try and pull it with your arms. You're going to pull your body weight behind it. You're going to use your legs to pull that object towards you. Okay, and we're going to use a very similar principle with the hook. We're going to use our body to create the mass, just like with every other shot, but this time we're going to pull our mass into the shot. And this is what that looks like. So that's the movement of the hook. Now we want to talk about how to finish the shot properly. Okay, and we do that by the way we position our hand. A lot of fighters throw their hook like this, okay, and that's fine. We're still going to be able to carry mass through the shot like that. The best way to do it is to finish the shot turn over. By doing that, we're lining up our shoulder, our elbow, and our wrist into a nice locked position to ensure that we can carry as much mass through that shot as possible. So there we've seen how to create a good lead hook, what it looks like when you should be finishing with your hand turned over, how to pull mass into the shot, and now we're going to go and have a look at the feet and see how we start that whole process. So what you'll see is people be in their stance and they'll turn their foot and then they'll throw their shot. The problem with this is, as you turn your foot, there's no attachment to the shot. That is a wasted movement. The energy from that movement is being lost in midair. That energy from that movement, as you can see, is going over there, and there's no attachment to the shot. It doesn't benefit the shot at all. In fact, it hinders your ability to create the power that you should be doing when you throw your lead hook, because instead of being able to drive power from the foot upwards, you've completely taken the foot out of the equation, and now all you're relying on is hip rotation and then the rotation from your shoulders. So what we want to be doing when we throw in our lead hook is, in our position, we drive our weight backwards. We take our mass backwards, okay? So when we throw our lead hook, it usually comes off of the back of our rear hand. What that does is that lines our weight up over our lead foot and then coils our body ready to create that rotation and create a good shot. So we know we don't turn our foot to create the shot, our foot turns when we throw the shot properly. So this is what our feet should be doing when we're throwing our lead hook. So we've coiled over that lead foot, all our energy is now stored in this leg, and then we drive the energy through, and that creates the power in the lead hook. So we've seen there how the foot position, how we start that shot and use this leg coiled to create the rotation in the shot. So now what I want to do is give you a better understanding of what I mean when I say pull the mass through the shot. So as we said before, the rear hand, we're pushing our mass through the shot. With the lead hook, what we want to be doing is pulling our mass through the shot. So as we drive up from our leg, rotation through the hip, what we're doing is we're driving ourselves back onto our rear leg. Okay, and that is ensuring that we're pulling the mass through the shot. If we try and push mass through a shot, it's going to take us off balance, and we're going to end up with no mass behind that shot because all you've got is your arm. So we need to pull into that. So we need to ensure that when we're pulling our mass into the lead hook, that we're locking our shoulder in place, up by our chin, turning that hand over, because that then lines up the body to create a nice, strong arm position to carry the mass through the shot. So that's what the lead hook looks like. Now we're going to go into the bags and put it into practice. So this is what a lead hook looks like when you throw it properly. Okay, as you can see there, coiling onto that front leg and then driving my weight through the shot. One thing I can't emphasize enough, although we're pulling our mass into the shot, what we're not doing is we're not pulling our arm back as well. The arm needs to follow that trajectory it starts on through the target to ensure we carry that mass through. And what I mean by that is when people pull their weight into the shot, sometimes what they'll do is they'll pull back and they'll bring the arm back with the shot. But what we want to do is allow our arm to go through the target. So we're pulling our mass back, but we're allowing our arm to continue through the target. Okay? And that's how you create a good, powerful lead hook. Going to recap on what we've gone through when creating a good lead hook. So we spoke about foot positioning. As with every punch we throw, we need to ensure that we've got a good, stable base to create a good, powerful shot from. We spoke about how you don't turn the foot to create the shot. The foot turns when you create the shot properly. We also spoke about how to develop the rotation in the shot and ensure that we carry as much mass through to the target as possible. So we've covered the jab, we've covered the rear hand, and we've just covered the lead hook. We've also covered the stance. The next video is going to be about how we can make our style more advanced and make you a more advanced boxer. So click the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. I'm Dan Woodgate from Shadowbox Media, and this is boxing.